Hello people and welcome back to my channel. Paul here again, and today we're going to talk about something very special, something unique and something new. Are you looking to buy or just want to know about more information about the most powerful or one of the most powerful boards, electrical skateboards you can buy? The fastest with the longest range, the absolute monster of a board. If that's the case, this video is for you. Don't go anywhere. So guys, you are an experienced electrical skateboard rider, or you're just after the best board, the fastest board you can buy off the shelf. And we're going to talk about that particular board. My friends in Sweden, Bioboards, thank you Marcus, gave me an opportunity to review their newest flagship board, and I think it's the first review out there in the world. This is the beginning of the series of videos about this beautiful board right here, Plutonium 2. People who know my channel, they know I do my reviews in absolute detail. So see, this is video number 1. We're going to unbox the brand new board, look what's inside, and I will explain to you everything you need to know. I will go over every single aspect or information part that I would like to know if I'm buying one. At the same time, we will get Marcus, the director of Bioboards, involved as well, and we'll throw a few questions at him while we're making the video. Thank you all of you guys, my subscribers and my group members. I've asked the question, what would you like me to do with the board? And I've got a list of interesting things you would like for me to do with it. And guys, we'll do all that, but perhaps maybe not in this video. I'll see how it goes. And here she is. Yes, big box for the big board and a big knife to open it. So are you ready? Let's open the box. So what we got here? Obviously a lot of packaging. Well, that is very, very good. The charger, 10 amp by the way. Loads of stickers. Remote, the Vega. And most importantly now, hiding under the blanket, the Plutonium V2. So here she is, the top of the line 4x4 with everything inclusive board, the Plutonium V2. Why V2? Bioboards, the guys in Sweden, had really good and positive vibes from the first boards they have come up with, which is Thorium and Plutonium V1. So they have decided to go just a bit further. So let me explain to you. Oh, sorry, for starters, what's in the box? So you got a 10 amp charger with the leads and the rest of it. You get the Vega that comes separately so it doesn't get smashed up during transportation. Only 4 screws, so it's easy. I've got the Hoyt Park remote. However, there are some different remotes you can get. I will explain it in a bit, and a lot of different stickers, which is quite nice. You will also get a user manual, so you know what you're doing if you never had Bioboards before. So the main differences are, Bioboards have developed their own ESC, BioX. I will cover that in a separate video. They also have changed the battery enclosure design, the battery itself, the wiring management. The deck was reconfigured. They also now have their own gear drives. They used to be getting gear drives from 3D Services, however now they have their own designed and manufactured gear drives, which is so super cool. Plutonium V2 does also come with new rims, new tires. Well, everything is kind of rethought on this board. There are a lot of parts on this board that actually are created, designed by Bioboards, and they are working together with manufacturers across the world, including China, to actually produce these parts for them direct. Even the motors are new. They are no joke. Just to keep you a bit interested, especially for people who just tuned into this channel. So what you're looking at here is the board that has over 20,000 watts of power. It can go up to 58 miles an hour with a range exceeding 40 miles. So that is a no joke board. But there are different types of boards or different configurations of the board you can order. So I will go through all of that later in the video. So what would you like to know if you are thinking perhaps spending over $5,000 on an electric skateboard? Well, let's start with the basics. Let's go over the board itself and go through bits that would interest me. The weight, the flexibility, the physical dimensions of the deck, and then we go part by part and I'll explain to you everything in detail. Okay guys, so let's start with physical dimensions. I would like to mention this is a very, very large board. It's like a boat. So this board is 117 centimeters long, so a meter 170, 46 inches long. That is massive. The board had a slight W-shaped concave to lock your foot in. It has a very nice drop down as well. So if I put it sideways, you can probably see it. It has a nice little drop down right there, just to lock your foot in when you're accelerating or if you are slowing down the board. So the width, where your foot positions are, is 270 millimeters both sides, and it's a bit narrower in the middle. It's at 260, just to give it a bit of a, you know, design. Now, wheel to wheel width is 450 millimeters. That is wide. These trucks are 300 millimeters. As you can see, the drop down is very moderate, but just enough to lock your wheels in. And these are brand new, redesigned rims. These are by Moon, so you can buy those anywhere you want. Directly from him, actually I don't know where from. Kenda tires. This is if you go for the AT setup. What I want to show you here, guys, it's the space or clearance underneath the battery enclosure and the ground. So that is roughly 100 millimeters. The lowest point, as with any board, would be the bottom of the gear drives or belts, and it is sitting at 50 mil, 2 inches. So guys, as for the weight of this board is 4x4, so that's the heaviest board that you can order, because there are other variations I'll explain later. Let's find out. She is quite heavy. She's a heavy girl. Okay, she sits at 27 kilos, 300 grams. So for this part, the guys who know me and know my channel, they will not forgive me if I don't do this. For guys who just tuned into my channel, well, apologies, catch up with my videos, you know what I'm talking about. I've broken a lot of decks in my videos, my own decks, my carbon fiber decks, and a lot. So what we're gonna do, that's right, the jump on the board test. And obviously I have to, absolutely have to, use my safety shoes. Yep. And of course, shout out to Paul Carson, my friend DJ, who made this lovely soundtrack. Let's go. Guys, bear in mind that I am 110 kilos. So let's see if Bioboards got any flex. This deck is, got flex to it. The battery was built as flexible. I'm not gonna go too mad on it because it's not the board you wanna break. However, let's jump on the deck. Let's jump on the deck. Jump on the deck. Jump on the deck. Damn, man, that is one big board. Absolutely awesome. It's like a boat. Crazy. Bit of rattling though. But that's the metal gears. Metal to metal. And 4 of them as well. By the way, I was thinking, Bioboards. Why Bioboards? It's an interesting name, but why? Marcus, why Bioboards? And yeah, why?
Okay, cheers, Pavel. Thank you for the question. Okay, so why we call it Bioboards is probably from the beginning. I was thinking like biohazard and radioactive material like power, strong. So that's why we call it Bioboards.
So I hope you liked the video so far. Well, you are still here, that means you did. And I hope you like the Blue Crocs jump on the deck part. I'm sure some of you will. Anyway guys, let's go back to this board. And I have it nicely hanging here off my ceiling. It's a massive board, so I wouldn't be able to twist it around in my hands in the front of you. So this will give us an opportunity for me to go through certain parts of the board and talk to you about it. So let's just cover the options that you can apply when you buy Bioboards Plutonium. So you can get it in all-wheel drive or just rear-wheel drive. It's up to you. Obviously, it will be cheaper. I think it's about 3.5 grand. Also, it will be lighter a little bit. Well, you get more range, but it all depends what you want. I've got the top notch, the most expensive thing. It has everything inside of it. You can get this board 4-wheel drive or 2-wheel drive. You can get it off-road, as you see over here, or the street type. So you'll have 110mm wheels on it. It's entirely up to you, which is quite cool because you can customize your board slightly to your liking. As what goes to remotes, you can get either the R1, so that's the Maytech trigger remote, waterproof. You got 2 triggers like the Evolve boards, or you can order it with Hoyt Puck remote in green. Well, obviously, Bioboards green, remote is green. So this is the choice you've got right now, but I'm sure if you really want something else, you can probably email Bioboards and ask him to install another remote for you. Just saying out loud, it would be a good option to customers. And just to quickly cover the options, this board does get shipped anywhere in the world. In EU, you get the board with the battery. If you are out of the EU, the board comes in without the battery. It goes to States first. The battery gets fitted by the authorized company, by Bioboards, and then you get the board a few weeks later. By the way, while we're at it, it takes about 4 weeks at the moment to get the board from placing order. Obviously, if you are overseas or out of EU, you will have another 2 weeks of wait to get the battery installed into your board. You can also choose the options of the bushings. All the bushings guys are using are made by, I believe, one of the best out there is the Riptide, and you can choose the durometer of the bushes while you order the board, soft or harder, but then you can play around with it if you want. Okay guys, so now let's go from the top down and discuss all the changes for Plutonium V2. So for starters, you will get Bioboards created gear drives. They're metal to metal gears, so it's not like belts, they shouldn't be snapping. Again, Bioboards didn't disclose exactly who made those gear drives for them. Again, it's a secret of the company, it is what it is. However, they have a manufacturer in China who makes them for them, which is great. The gear ratios will differ from what you are buying or the setup you want to go for. They got different options there. Now moving a little bit to the top, you got Bioboards 300mm hanger, which is quite nice. It makes the board nice and wide, so quite stable at high speeds. And I'm talking about high speeds. We're talking about 40, 45, 50 miles an hour, depending on what you're gonna get. Also, moving further down, that's the next upgrade or change to the board. You got Bioboards branded 138 kV 65100 5400 watt motors. These babies are no joke. So take a look at this photo right here, guys. It's got a nice little breather on the side of the motor to let the air through the motor so it cools a bit down. They are sensed motors, which is quite nice. They're absolutely massive, which is good. As I have already mentioned, the axle is 10 millimeter, which is quite nice. The bearings are being used, I was told, really high quality. I'm not sure what they are. I normally prefer to use NSK, Japanese made bearings. However, I'm not sure what bearings these are, but Bioboards assured me they are really good quality, so we will trust them. With the tires, you get the Kenda. Again, this is if you are buying off-road setup, which I would personally recommend, to be honest with you. You get the Kenda 200 by 50. They are road tires, but you can go on a slight off-road with them. By the way, while we're talking about this board is not actually an off-road board. It's like a hybrid. So it's a street board, I would say, with slight off-road capability. Because of the clearance of it and the battery position at the bottom of the deck, I wouldn't really recommend going on like massive hardcore off-roading and jumping over the rocks, because you will potentially damage this beautiful real carbon fiber molded enclosure, which is another difference from previous model to the V2. This is absolutely gorgeous. Got a lot of indents into it, so it gave it a nice little touch. Huh, I just noticed. They actually have Bioboards little signs on every single bolt. That's cute. So Marcus, a bit of history on Bioboards, the company, you know, just tell us about Bioboards. Very popular question.
Okay, so the history of Bioboards is I started with did ride a Raptor 2, and I think it was fun, but I wanted something more power, more range, so I built the first version of Thorium, our first board, myself. And after some time, I started to get questions: can you build the same for me, and everything like that. And I did have my partners Matthias and Alex, who joined because I think it was fun to build too. And yeah, we started to build, and we released Thorium with a new web shop and started to sell, and went really fine. We sold like 100 boards first year. And after around 1.5 years, we wanted to make something new that was more friendly for assembly and things like that. So we released Plutonium version 1. And it was more power, more range and everything. And after around 1 year of using it, we released Plutonium 2, where we did improve like almost every part on it, and increase the power and range, bigger battery, bigger motors, better motor controllers and everything. So yeah, basically that's where we is today with a new board. And yeah, we finally think it's a perfect board, and we really enjoy riding it. Okay, thanks.
So next up, guys, another upgrade which is quite nice is the connector block. So now what you have is you have quick release connectors for the phase cables and also for the sensor cables, which is really nice. This was designed by Bioboards, which is quite nice, to be fair. So pretty much, let me cover what was designed by Bioboards, just to give the guys a bit of a credit. So the deck is designed by Bioboards, the gear drives designed by Bioboards, the hangers, the motors, and also the connector block, the battery enclosure, the battery itself. Well, here we go. That's not bad at all. Obviously, they have been talking to manufacturers, and that's good, direct, and they now have direct supply from the manufacturers for all these parts. But fair play to you guys, you know, making anything new or improving parts for us in the community, thumbs up from my book. So now moving on to one of the very important parts is the battery. This battery here is 12S8P, 21700 motor cells, 42 piece. Those are my favorite cells, to be honest with you. This board is packing 1380 watt-hour worth of power. Well, in simple words, that is that is a lot. Okay, this battery will give you speeds of 40 to 58 miles an hour and a range from 30 to 50 miles. Again, guys, every time you look at the boards online, please remember all these numbers vary by different characteristics. So the weight of the rider, the battery charge levels, the road quality, the hills, downhills, whatever not, your riding style, the style of the wheels. Is it AT? Is it street board? Are the wheels pumped up hard? Are they a bit softer? Do you really push your board? Do you let it slide? Do you regen a lot when you press the brake and you cruise? So all these numbers got to be taken with a pinch of salt, as we say here in UK. So there we go. But I would personally say, from my experience, and this is from my bullet build, 12S 7P moly cells will give you roughly 25 miles pushing it hard, and that's on dual motors. Okay, and you can trust me on that because this is exactly what I get on my personal build, but I push it. And also, as I said, it depends on the rider's weight. I'm 110 kilos, well, so maybe I think I'm a bit more after Christmas, but anyway, roughly around there. So this is one of the big criteria to when you talk about a range of the board. So next step, Bioboards are using, in this instance, two ECs. These are BioX. Take a look at the screen. BioX is something the guys developed together with Spinted. It's not a secret, but they have a few bits that they have input into the EC. So in 4x4 you'll have two of them, which is really, really nice. I will review the BioX separately a bit later, and I will use it in my build because I need much more power and much more output from my board. As for the BMS, the battery management system, you will have a smart BMS, discharge only, and in my opinion is the best way forward. I always bypass the discharge and let the EC or VESC to control my discharge. So this is charge only smart BMS, and you can actually control or monitor your P-packs on your phone via app. I think it's awesome. That's what I do for all my builds. It's absolutely spot on. Many of you are probably aware of what the Vega is. Sorry, it's ended up being at the bottom of the screen. But what you do have is the Vega installed on every single Plutonium, and what you do have is live readings off of your VESC. So any information you need to know will be lit up large on the deck itself, so you can look at it while you are riding. As an option, you can get Meter Pro or Plus, whatever they call them. So you have a new version of Meter Pro. This is a device inside your board that will record all the statistics of your ride, and it's really awesome. I like it because you can always come back home, you can go through the settings, you can see what your board is doing, how much power it's using, what speeds you had, and there's a lot of different characteristics you can go through to fine-tune your board. Because using Meter Pro will give you a chance right when you're riding to stop, go into the settings and change parameters of the board to give more amps to the motors, or tweak with your braking power or whatever not. So that's a really nice option, but again, you can choose what you want when you buy one of these. As for charging, guys, you have a nice Bioboard logoed charger. This charger is 10 amp, so you'll have your board charged in no time. This is absolutely awesome, and they obviously used a nice plug for it to match the amperage of the charging. This is really nice feature. It's got the cooling fan on it. That's a really good charger, guys. So I would say this full pack will be good and ready to ride within 2 hours. There's another really nice feature I forgot to mention, guys, is with Meter Pro. What Bioboards have done, they have created a link. So if you buy the Bioboards and have Meter Pro inside of it, if you are in trouble with settings of the ECs, what you can do, you can call them up. You will give them the authorization code from your Meter. They can log into your Meter Pro, from their headquarters and actually tweak the settings of your board. How cool is that? That is absolutely spot on. I really like that idea, because sometimes you get confused, you know. It's possible. There are different levels of DIY builders and riders out there. So if you're in trouble, they can actually talk to your board from where they are. Spot on. So guys, quickly about the deck. The deck itself is quite thick. It is 10 layers of maple with 2 layers of glass fiber to make it a bit stronger. They also have reinforced the neck of the deck to make it a bit stronger and more reliable at high speeds. You also get the anti-sink plates, which is a good idea. As for the base plates, they are adjustable angle base plates, which is cool. So what these guys are doing, they're using 43 degrees at the front and 49 at the back. This is proven to be really good for stability, but again, you can tweak it if you want, and you can tweak the torque of the bolts on the kingpin to make the board a bit stiffer on the bushes or a bit softer. Again, it's up to you. You can fine tune the board to your liking, which is quite nice. Because Bioboards are using BioX, which is based on U-Box or Spinted EC, they have pre-made the connector for the rear light, which is really nice. Hopefully Bioboard will come up with the rear light, which is automatic brake light. When you hit the remote to the brake, that's already prepped, so you just plug it in and install the light. That is very nice feature. I do like it a lot. Another question, Marcus, please. Why do you think your boards are best? What separates them from any other board out there?
Okay, so what's so special about our boards compared to other? Well, basically we use only gear drives, so we have no belts like a snap or jump out cogs. So you have like better braking, more acceleration, and we use only the best motors with the same amount of power. And we spend a lot of time like improving the motors to have them perfect, so they are different compared to all other brands. We have a huge battery for very extremely long range, but also at the same time our battery is built to have a high discharge. Most brands send their boards with between 50 and 100 amperes discharge. We send it with 200 amperes, and you can actually use up to 280 amperes. So you have a lot more power compared to another boards. I can promise you, like when you push the throttle, it will be nothing like you ride it before compared to any other boards. We have the onboard display. We use Metro module, so you have an app with insane amount of features. No other brands have that. And we paid attention to every detail. So you have titanium screws, precision hangers, precision base plates, riptide bushings. Yeah, you basically get the best of everything on this board. And yeah, that's basically it.
When it comes to the warranty, guys, this board is warranted for 6 months, and any repairs are made by Bioboards. Obviously, you have to read the small print. This board is waterproof, but it is rated to be water or splash proofed, because sometimes people just do silly things. If you tell them the board is absolutely waterproof, nothing is waterproof, guys. Okay, so running this board through a puddle of 200mm deep water is not going to do it any good. However, if it's raining and you're riding this board, you will be absolutely fine. So any water damage, of course, logically is not covered by the warranty. Anything else, failure of manufactured parts, will be covered for 6 months, and it is quite nice. These guys do have relationship with American companies who will sort out the board if you are on that side of the pond from UK. So here you go, guys. I think this is pretty much it for this video. I would say I've covered everything you need to know about this beautiful board. Obviously prices, take a look on their website. I will leave all the links in the description below. You can see, obviously, you're choosing the option, the price will depend on the options you choose. If you got any questions, please either contact me and I will let you know. However, you can contact Bioboards directly. This is it for the part 1 Bioboards Plutonium V2 video series. I hope you liked it, guys. I hope you got all the information you require. Now, I'm going to charge the board up, gear up, and please ride safely and go for a test ride. Remember, In the next videos we're going to open her up and see what's inside, and also in video 3 we're going to do some really weird stuff to it. Pulling trucks, pulling cars, trying, well, I'm not going to tell you everything, but I think it should be very interesting. And she won't be as clean as she is right now, I promise you that. Thank you very much for your time. Ride safely, build safely, and I see you very soon. Bye.